Right, so welcome along to the British Kabaddi League. This is BBC Sports Scotland's coverage of this tournament, which has kicked off this weekend here in Wolverhampton. I am Uncle Desai from the BBC Asian Network. I'm alongside Priti Swami, who is a British Kabaddi player. And we're going to bring you 4 matches today. We had an excellent day yesterday. It was the opening day of this tournament. 5 matches. The pace was frenetic at times. There was so much passion, but so much great spirit as well. And we had some excellent matches. I'm going to break down everything about the game, of course, throughout the afternoon. And Priti as well is going to give us some expert insight too. So we'll have loads of guests from behind the scenes who are going to be coming onto the programme today. And we'll bring you as much colour and flavour as we possibly can. First match taking place today is between the Birmingham Bulls and the Leicester Warriors. The Birmingham Bulls will be in their dark black outfits, black tops, black shorts. And the Leicester Warriors in their white t-shirts and their black shorts as well. Priti, are you excited? How did you find that the first day went?
I'm so excited to see what's to come today. Yesterday was amazing, as you said, such talent, such high level of kabaddi, especially that last match. I think that really set the tone for the rest of the tournament. It was ridiculously tight, fierce, passionate, and let's hope that we see more of that today. Really, really excited.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just trying to think in terms of like the excitement, the build-up's been there for quite some time. And you know some of the players, having spoken to them just very briefly, they must be quite excited now to finally get the tournament underway, I imagine. So we're going to get your thoughts on that in just a second. But Birmingham have just kicked off. And we saw this young man yesterday, Kishan, who is extremely successful in the Bulls' win yesterday. He's a raider who is always very sharp and slippery and difficult to contain. And he was excellent yesterday. In their win, they won 73 points to 39 against the Wolverhampton Wolfpack. Now, that is an empty raid we've just seen. So basically a player going into the opposition territory, failing to tag or gain a point or eliminate an opponent. So he goes back. That's an empty raid. You can't have 2 of those. So he has 30 seconds to basically try and tag someone, or more than one, of course, and didn't manage to in that moment. So another empty raid potentially coming here as the 2 teams are just sizing themselves up. But this second time round now, it won't be allowed. But it could, there we go. That sound tells you that basically you're not allowed to go in and come back without trying to attempt. And that's a great bit of play by the Leicester Warriors as well. They needed that. That was an excellent attempt there, taking out one of the key players from the Birmingham Bulls who have their kit today as well. So George Willington is out. The Warriors get the first point on the board. So the Leicester Warriors 1-0 up. That sound also helps you understand the fact that Leicester can't go empty-handed in some ways, or they've got to go for it. This is Dev, who was outstanding for Leicester yesterday in their loss. They lost yesterday. Oh, that's physical start to this game. And they've actually met business in the Birmingham Bulls. They know he's a threat. He was so good yesterday in the Leicester Warriors match, and which they did go on to lose yesterday against the London Lions, 82 points to 51. But he is definitely one to keep an eye on. So Reddy gets in there with a tag. Is he going to take one? It's tempting someone to come over. No, there we go. So that's the point. So that means the Bulls are on the board. Just Priti, let me get your thoughts. Fast and furious pace to begin with.
Yeah, no messing about here. They both did an empty raid to start with, but after that they're coming in strong. Solid defence, hard defence, push out. So you can see the whole team going together as a unit, and keeping strong. So I think it's going to be a fierce game and another close one. It looks like so far, but we'll see what's to come.
And you're gone.
No, I was just going to say that was an empty raid there. So the do or die rule makes that. There we go. Sorry, Cash, got to easy touch there and out. The do or die keeps the game exciting. You can't have 2 empty raids in a go. There you go. That's a horn to signify that. Yeah. He's got to get a point in this time, whether that means he gets a touch or he gets tackled down.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fierce. That is physical. We are seeing some statements being made by both teams so far here. So that is 4-1 now to the Bulls. They started strongly against the Warriors. So Warriors down now to just 3 from the allocated 7. 2 teams will start us off with 7 players, and then that obviously dwindles down eventually to 1. And then we'll explain to you what happens as we get to that stage in just a second. That's another elimination as well. So another point for the Birmingham Bulls. That makes it 5-1. We're going to bring in plenty of guests as well, including the Mayor of Wolverhampton in the next minute or two. We just want to get down to the slight business end of this particular mini matchup, I guess, because Leicester Warriors are close to being all out. And we just want to explain to you exactly the circumstances, the permutations around that. Yeah, that looks like an empty raid, a tactical decision there made by the Warriors, I think, there, Priti.
Yeah, it looks like it. They're doing everything they can to not get that all out, which was really detrimental. And
And has he got there? Has he got there? Brilliant stuff.
What?
Brilliant work. Oh, excellent tussle. The referees have got to make a call here. Brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff. It was almost close to being all out for the Warriors. And the Warriors held firm.
And that's a super tackle there. So it's 2 points for their teams. They really, really needed that. That's 5-3 to the Bulls.
So just explain to us a super tackle, what that is.
Yeah, so super tackle is when you've got 3 or less players in the defence. And they manage to tackle the raider.
Ooh. That is physical, to say the least. We did not see a lot of that yesterday.
No, they're coming in strong.
But obviously, I mentioned Dev was my MVP yesterday, and he was so good yesterday. And it looks as though they've deliberately targeted him today, because that was a brutal push out.
Definitely
like another point
some
there.
tactics.
Another point there for Kishingutta there. So the Warriors down to their last man. They're going to have to keep an eye on Dev, who's just there close to us on the left. He's doing a few exercises and stretches. He's just trying to check on his ankle, because he took an absolute pounding, completely taking out the billboard as well.
Yeah, the Leicester Warriors really need this one to prevent them getting out.
So the Bulls
devastating all out.
Yeah, and that is an all out as well. 7 points to 3. That's going to be an extra few points. No, that's actually what's happened there?
So he's got a point there. So he got player back in. He did.
He
saved his team from an all out.
Okay.
So that's 2-1 again. So here's another good opportunity for them to try and do a super tackle, but unfortunately not done. So that's 1 point to the Birmingham Bulls and 8-4 on the scoreboard there.
Again, another situation where the Warriors find themselves in a potential all-out situation here. Just to remind you, yesterday we had 4 quarters, 10-minute quarters yesterday. It's changed today. The format of the competition. There'll be 2 15-minute halves, and there'll be a small break in the middle at half-time, but that is effectively the change today. All teams were made aware of that at the start of play today. So 2 15-minute halves. Here we go. Now what's going to happen here? Yeah, they've got him. It looked like lambs to the slaughter there, because it was just 1 against 7. So the 9-4 lead will be extended.
Yeah, that was an all-out, so that's 3 points there. So 12-4, and the Leicester Warriors have called a timeout there, probably quite a strategic timeout to regroup and hopefully come back.
Okay, the score's been adjusted to 11-4, but I don't know if that's incorrect or not. And we had a couple of issues yesterday in terms of the scorecard that we're seeing here inside the venue, as opposed to what will be on our screens as well. So we'll keep you updated and across that as we get people to keep an eye on it. But as I mentioned, we've got loads of guests we're going to try and bring you from behind the scenes who are all involved in this excellent competition. And it's been hosted by Wolverhampton this weekend. We'll be moving to Oldham next week. The following weekend, back into the Midlands in Birmingham, and then we're going to finish things off in Glasgow. And I'm really pleased to say that the Mayor of Wolverhampton, Councillor Greg Brackenridge, is with us. He's a big supporter of the game, and I suppose your eyes are wide open watching this fast and furious pace as well for the very first time in person.
It's the first time I've ever seen it actually live. I have watched it on TV before, but it's absolutely wonderful. I was a very keen rugby player myself and boxer, and I know that the sport is rooted in the martial arts, so this is right up my street.
I was just going to say, why don't you see if any of the teams need an extra player?
I think nursing the injuries I got from rugby, maybe I'll give it a go later with some of the younger teams.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you did say as well to me a little while ago that you boxed for England back in the day as well. I mean, those sort of boxing skills, I'm sure you're going to see the footwork, the bouncing and the shuffling, and also the footwear is very similar to boxing, boxing shoes, boxing trainers as well. You'll notice a lot of the skill sets are quite similar, so I think you would have been very adept at this as well. And like you said, rugby as well, the low squat, the low centre of gravity, using your different core strengths as well, that would have come into fore as well.
And some of the tackles out here, I can tell you, our rugby players would be perfectly perfectly suited to this game because this is physical, and those tackles were as good as any I've ever seen on a rugby pitch.
Absolutely, and the stamina as well, because the fact that you have to keep repeating the word kabaddi, for 30 seconds, whilst keeping your mind sharp, whilst keeping yourself aware of your surroundings and the opponent, it's quite full on.
I mean, surely that must be unique to this sport, the fact that you're not allowed to breathe whilst you're on the attack. That in itself is something spectacular. That's a fantastic tackle there.
Brilliant stuff. So you can see just getting the legs is one thing, but you'll also notice that just by getting the legs is not enough, because some of the players are so good, as Priti was explaining to us, at wriggling free of a tackle and then taking some players with you, and then once you get to the halfway line, you're in trouble. 14 points to 6, Birmingham Bulls lead the Leicester Warriors in the early stages of this one. How proud are you to host this in Wolverhampton as well? This is first weekend, historic.
Wolverhampton will pull out all the stops to host this. We're a very diverse community, as you know, and we're very, very keen to sort of celebrate that diversity. The people who are taking part today are not from one community, it's from a whole range of communities. Even the Polish community are here today. So we're really keen to support this as much as we possibly can. But we also would love to host the World Cup next year.
Yeah.
So I can tell you, the leader of the council and myself will do all we can to ensure that we get there. We want to be the home of kabaddi. We started football here many, many years ago. We want to be the home of the World Championships of kabaddi.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, Wolverhampton hosts so much international sport. You'll host boxing, you'll host darts, speedway, obviously Premier League football, boxing, so much going on. Kabaddi would be quite the coup as well. To host a world event like that would be something special.
Well, as you're aware, we'll have a number of events for the Commonwealth Games coming this year.
Yeah.
What a better way to build on that legacy than getting the Kabaddi tournament here as well. And the better we build it, of course, I've spoken to some of the officials behind the scenes today. They're very keen to get this as an Olympic sport. But of course, you need 48 countries around the world to do that.
Yeah.
Well, let's start it here in Wolverhampton and let's have another thing to be proud of, sporting here in our home city.
And I guess in terms of investment, yourselves being part of, the local council / government here, there'll be a responsibility and onus on you guys to sort of say, actually, this is something worth investing in. What have you seen about it which makes you think, actually, this is a sport we would like to invest further in?
I'm all for all sports. I think we noticed during the last 2 years of the pandemic that people missed being around other people, and what we saw was sporting activities and any activities where we got people together, whether it be theatres or anything like that. People were just grateful to be around other people again. Sport is the great uniter. Once you cross that line, you're an equal with everybody else on that pitch, and you have to prove yourself at the very highest level of competition.
And I guess one of the key, that is incredible.
That was a great tackle, wasn't it?
Stuff. The Birmingham Bulls player almost took about 4 players with him. 15 points to 8, the Birmingham Bulls lead over the Leicester Warriors. We'll keep you across the latest in just a few seconds. But
yeah, just going back to that point,
yeah.
I mean, the culture, I mean, we've all got different cultures, different backgrounds, religions, etc. But sport's the great leveller.
Yeah.
You're as good as how you compete. And this is why I think... He almost leapt over a player there.
It was like a salmon leaping through a stream there. He was leaping over 3 or 4 tackles. Again, Priti, just explain to us that technique, because that's something we didn't see a great deal of yesterday, but it's such an effective way of getting out of a tough situation.
Yeah, absolutely, because as soon as someone initiates a tackle, your ability to jump out of that itself is a skill and something that you tend to train at. There's a lot of techniques. If someone goes to your ankle, turning your ankle and pulling out and making sure that you have one leg free to do that wriggle. That is definitely a skill that people train at, which you probably wouldn't think about.
Yeah, love that. 18 points to 8. Birmingham Bulls lead the Leicester Warriors. Got the Mayor of Wolverhampton, Councillor Greg Brackenridge, as well. And one of the other points I wanted to pick up on as well, Greg, was the fact that trying to engage with people from low socioeconomic backgrounds as well. Is this a sport which you could invest in to see people from, diverse communities, really come to the fore and find a sport and find something that they're passionate about?
Absolutely, and we've got the networks here available. We've got the Gurdwaras, we've got plenty of schools. My wife, the Mayoress, is actually a deputy head teacher in one of our schools. I know she'd be very keen on getting this. But yeah, absolutely, we've got the communities, we've got the infrastructure, we've got the venues. Why not? let's go for it.
That was unreal. It looked as though Keshav Gupta almost took 4 plays with him. What's the judgment on this one, Priti? They're claiming 4.
Yeah, we're just waiting for the umpire. The umpires are calling a timeout to just clarify who.
I think we've definitely got 3 players taken out there, but we could have 4, and that would mean an all-out, right?
Yeah, and I think that's a key example of what you were talking about earlier. Like someone went for both his legs, but he just jumped in that exact moment to try and propel.
Oh, wow. So, I think, what is the umpire given there?
That's 6 points to the
6
Birmingham
points.
Bulls. So that's 4 players out plus 2 for it being all out. That is going to really push up their league, 25 to 8.
So he did get the 4. As the first time I think we've seen that all weekend. 1 player eliminate 4 and then also achieve an all-out, so 6 points. So that lead extends to 25 points to 8. We mentioned Keshav Gupta yesterday was outstanding for the Birmingham Bulls, and his form has continued into this second day. I've got to say that they were quite fortunate in the sense the scheduling worked out for them yesterday. They had 1 game at the start of the day, then they rested throughout the whole of the rest of the day, then they had a lovely meal in the evening. I saw that they were enjoying a mixed grill a few tables away from me, and that means they are nice and fresh and fit and firing this morning. So a 25 point to 8 lead. But yeah, Councillor,
a good tackle.
Greg Brackenridge, well, as you were talking about, yes, your wife, the mayoress. The fact is, I think they are so keen, the people behind the British Kabaddi League, to try and get Kabaddi onto the curriculum as part of a GCSE, as part of personal social education. That would be quite the coup if you could get sport like Kabaddi into schools, into the curriculum.
Well, that's the way that you ensure as well. You've got a regular fresh supply of people coming every year into the sport as new people come to the school. So I think schools could play a vital role in ensuring that we've got that continual supply of new players.
Yeah, absolutely. 26 points to 8 then. The Birmingham Bulls extend the lead over the Leicester Warriors. Just finally then from yourself, it's looking like it's been a successful first weekend. How do we maintain that Kabaddi is still on our social timelines, news feeds? It's still relevant within not just the Kabaddi community, but it breaks out. What needs to happen now once this tournament ends after this month? How can we keep the sport growing, building, thriving, so it continues to attract the eyeballs it needs to hit some of those big events like you talked about?
I think the best way to do that is take the league around the various different areas where we've got competitors already, but also, as I said earlier, get it into the Gurdwaras, get it into the schools. We know we've got a lot of wrestling communities in our Gurdwaras. Smethwick Sikh Temple are extremely keen on sporting activities. They had a very, very successful football team there. So those are the ways to do it. At schools are the other way. I think we've got somebody there. That was another great tackle.
Yeah, brilliant.
I would love to get some of these guys involved in the rugby, I can tell you now.
Yeah.
My son plays rugby at the moment, and I'm sure he would have an eye on this if he saw it.
It's a great scouting opportunity, isn't it?
A few scouting opportunities, but yeah, I think that's the way. Now that this first event is out of the way, the momentum's there now.
Yeah.
Clearly, it's well supported. Yeah. Let's keep that ball rolling. Let's make it snowball. Get more people involved. And, of course, you'll have the full support, I am sure, of all the metropolitan leaders in the West Midlands. Let's make the West Midlands the area that grew Kabaddi into that international sport that it needs to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Really well said. Thank you so much for your time today. That's the
my
Mayor
pleasure.
of Wolverhampton, Councillor Greg Brackenridge here. A key part of the community here, no doubt, and someone who will be helping the sport grow, no doubt. Right, back to the action then. The Birmingham Bulls lead the Leicester Warriors. The Bulls were so impressive yesterday, and they look like they're carrying on that form as well into the second day. 29 points to 10 they lead. We're into the first half still. Like we said, we've changed the format of things today. Yesterday we had 4 10-minute quarters. Today we've got 2 15-minute halves, and the Birmingham Bulls look like they're up for the challenge today. And that looks like half-time. Yeah. Right, perfect. Right, 30 points to 10 then. We'll have a very short break here, and then we'll be back in the next couple of minutes with more action as well. We'll talk you through some of the other fixtures that will be taking place today. Right, so we are back with the action. Second half action here in Wolverhampton. British Kabaddi League, the first match of day 2 here in Wolverhampton. The Birmingham Bulls leading the Leicester Warriors, 30 points to 10. The Warriors are a young, inexperienced team. Priti is alongside me. Priti Swami, our British Kabaddi expert, player, all-round superstar. We were talking about yesterday that they've only been formed over the last few months as well. And we obviously saw that inexperience, but we saw a lot of talent and passion as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But I have to say today they've really pulled up their game. 31-10 for the Bulls. It's not a bad score so far against for the Leicester Warriors against the Bulls, because as we said earlier, they're a well-oiled team. They've been playing for a long time, so doing really well. I think they're holding their own.
Yeah, this is Dev, who was my MVP of yesterday, because he was in a team full of underdogs, but he was so good and so brave and courageous at times, taking on teams by himself, finding himself in situations like this and trying to, I suppose, retrieve lost causes. So he was excellent yesterday, and he's taken a few blows. We've already seen him taken out one of the sponsorship hoardings, and he's back again. It looked like he was a bruised and broken boy yesterday, and it seems as though he's going to suffer again today. But his courage and his passion and ability is going to be hard to be matched. So yeah, he is one to watch for sure.
Yeah, there we go.
It's been given as well. Yeah, it's been given. He claims that he wasn't touched, but that's another all out. So that'll be 4 more points to the total.
Yeah, so they've got their full team back, and that horn again signifies a do or die raid. So Leicester Warriors really need this point. They can't play so passively this time.
So 35 points to 10, then the lead for the Bulls. Bulls yesterday were winners in the opening match that we saw against the Wolverhampton Wolfpack, 73 points to 39. There we go, all at once. You can just hear them all just sense the opportunity together.
Just such tight formation from the Bulls. They're all going in sync together in one go, and it's just seeming so successful. Yeah,
Felix Lee there, a key part of the defence, and we saw him yesterday in action. We also had him on commentary duties with us yesterday.
Got Keshav Gupta just got another bonus, his signature bonus.
So just explain to us how the bonus works for people who wouldn't know.
Yeah, absolutely. So the bonus is that second black line. The second black line, to get a bonus point, you have to get your foot completely over it and lift the other foot up. So you have to completely clear that second line, and your other leg needs to be lifted up to get that bonus point.
And that means you're going deeper into enemy territory, taking a bigger risk.
And that's why it's harder. And you get that, even if you get tackled, you still claim that point. That's why it's a bonus. And you'll see the umpires put their thumbs up to signify a bonus when that's been achieved.
Okay, excellent stuff. 39 points to 10, the lead as well. And sometimes you'll also, just explain, Prithvi, you'll sometimes see a player who's gone in, obviously he's got the touch, but then he goads the opposition to try and, I suppose, pull him back before he gets over the line, because he wants to try and take more players with him.
Yeah, I mean, once you've got the one touch, the aim of the game is to get as many points as possible. So just because you've got one, a lot of these players will be keen to try and get a couple more before they go back. And that can be, a lot of the times it goes in their favour, but a lot of the time, unfortunately, it doesn't. It is a risky move. But if they feel confident, why not? Got George again here against 4 players, so no bonus. The play's a bit deeper.
Yeah,
quick movement.
Technique. Yeah, great technique there. The way he sort of uses side steps, he doesn't actually seem to run in a straight direction. He seems to run in angles.
Yeah.
Talk me through the advantage of somebody who uses that technique.
Yeah, so if you run in angles and side step and you change your movement, that's going to create a bit of a difference for the defence, so they're not going to know what you're doing. Basically, you don't want to be predictable. If you run up and down in a straight line, the defence know what you're doing, and they're going to clock on and they're going to go for the tackle. Whereas if you're moving around different angles, different speeds, which you'll see a lot of the players do, it's more unpredictable and you're more likely to get that touch. So we've got Keshav again here.
Yeah, one of the key. In for the bonus as well. It looks like he had got in for the bonus.
So yeah, he's one of their key raiders who we've seen always. Yeah, and he got a point there. So Leicester Warriors are down to 2 players. Really need to try and keep their team in. Another all-out would really push that score further and further away.
Then if we look at it from a defensive position, I'm just looking at Felix Lee here, the number 14 for the Birmingham Bulls, one of the key defenders.
Yep.
Just talk me through the mindset and what he's doing and what he's going to try and do when it comes to obviously defending and trying to capture an opposition player.
Yeah, so Felix is playing a cover position with Som as a corner behind him. They're adding pressure onto the raider, keeping close for as long as possible to really pressurize that raider to go back, and when they feel fit, they'll just go for the tackle. So they're just eyeing out the right moment to go for that tackle. So you can see here, they're staying for as long as possible, inching slightly closer when they can to just, again, put that pressure on. And then there you go. You see them going for a tackle together when they all both seem fit.
Yeah, good sportsmanship there. Dev taking another beating. And then helped up by the opposition, and of course they're going to help him out because they've got also an all-out there, so they get the 2 extra bonus points as well. So 3 more added to the total, 45 points to 11 now the lead for the Bulls. Bulls haven't even been near to an all-out yet. Oh, and that was cheeky. That was cheeky. Just explain to us what George Willington's just done there. He's obviously already got the point. Naivety from Leicester, who turned their back on him, and then he tagged another extra player.
Exactly. So he got a bonus, he got a point, and then he didn't quite go over, knowing that he might want to grab a last point, and that's exactly what he did. So he came out of that with 3 points for the Bulls, which has really extended their lead again to 48 for 11.
Yeah, if he'd gone back over the halfway line, he couldn't go back in again.
Exactly.
And, therefore, he hovered, pretended as if he was going to make that inevitable walk across the line, but quickly sensed that one of the Leicester players had turned his back already. So.
Bulls teasing them a little bit there.
Here we go with George Willington. Again, he's going to take a couple of players with him as well. He's just so quick. Once
Again,
he's tackled,
he's not touched it there again.
Yeah, once he's tackled, he just knows when to retreat. And that's the key part of, I guess, a raider. Once you've gone in, to get out as quickly as possible.
Do or die raid here.
Do or die, which is signified by that horn you hear. Do or die situation. Got to go in and attempt to tag.
You can see the Bulls really trying to psych the Leicester Warriors out, that intense glaze. So again, tight formation, there we go.
Yeah, it looked like... Yeah.
So it's that patience as a defender. You want to stay as patient as possible. Only go for it when you seem fit.
What's the umpire saying here? Something to do with the aggression or something to do... We heard an apology from one of the Birmingham Bulls players. Just right in front of us this action is taking place. What do you think that was for, Priti?
Yeah, not 100% sure. Potentially, as you said, the aggression, that tackle was already quite a clear tackle. The push out at the end was maybe unnecessary.
Right.
So potentially could be to do with that.
Yeah.
Again, Keshav Gupta coming back with 1 point for the Bulls.
Also, let's also clarify, once you've stepped over the first line, after the first black line, what is the situation? Do you have to have your 4 foot over? Does it have to be just literally a toe dipped in?
Yeah, so you've got to get your foot over that first line just to make your raid valid.
4 foot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, your raid isn't valid, and if you went back over the line, you would be out. So normally it will always happen. It's unlikely for you to go into a raid and not do that. But it's important, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like we've had another all-out there as well. So the Birmingham Bulls extend their lead now. As we see that replay, brilliant stuff. And let's also clarify for people who may not understand as well, we've got the pink zone, which is the lobby area.
Yeah.
You could be a player who is tackled, and you might not be able to get back after your raid to the halfway line. But if you go into the lobby area, just explain to us what that would mean.
Yeah, so as soon as contact's been made, the lobby area is now open. So you can now stand in the pink area that you can see and use that as just an extra area on the pitch and try and make it over the line through that as well as through the main pitch.
Yeah.
So it just extends the pitch a little bit for you once that initial contact and tackle has been made.
Yeah, and if you are taken out and pushed out, but if you take an opposition player with you, they will be eliminated as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And you get a bit of a bonus despite you losing your place.
Mm-hmm.
You can take another opposition player with you.
Yeah,
and gain a point.
Really important to be pushed back outside that pink bit. So they need to be pushed onto the mats, the red that you can see.
Yeah, so basically if they're coming into the hoardings towards us, they need to be taking a player with them as well.
Yeah.
Out of bounds effectively, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and what about the point situation that if that were to happen?
So it'd be 1 point each because the raider gets tackled, so that's 1 point to the one team, but they take down a defender with them, so that's a point to the other team, so evens.
So this is the first match of the day. We're trying to get through as many of the rules to clarify as possible for you, just so you get an understanding of what to expect throughout the afternoon. You are watching BBC Sports Scotland's coverage here of the British Kabaddi League here in Wolverhampton. We're going to be across this over the next 4 weekends. Yesterday was a great day, an extremely successful day. We had 5 matches taking place, brilliant action, so many even contests as well. I'm seeing so much passion and heart already, and great sportsmanship and spirit has been played in since yesterday. And so many skill sets from the world of martial arts. We've seen boxing, pugilism, we've seen rugby skills, we've seen all sorts, even squatting, sprinting skills you need in athletics as well. All sorts of great technique that we're seeing. And look at that little bit of a flick out there. Some empty raid there. 57 points to 11 in the lead currently for the Birmingham Bulls. Let's see the time. How are we doing, Prithvi, in terms of the time?
We've got 5 minutes left on the clock.
5 minutes left on the clock. So we've got 2 15-minute halves. Into the last 5 minutes of this one. And it looks as though, yeah, Dev again taken out with the hoardings, but and he's really feeling his abs, his abdomen area. Yeah, he's taking another blow. I think there might be an injury timeout here potentially. Yeah, there will be. Yeah, he's been in a lot of pain. He's been in the wars already today. We hope that he's going to be wrapped up in cotton wool, because they will need him over the coming weeks, and they'll need him to recover from whatever injuries he's sustaining today. 57 points to 11 here on the BBC Sport website and on the BBC Sport app. 60 now, it's gone up to 60 points to 11, so that is the updated score. George Willington here, who will try his best to take as many players as he can. May have taken 3, he's claiming 3. Yeah, I think that was 3. I don't know why that player is saying no. I mean, come on, dude. We saw it from over here, and I need binoculars from over here, so...
Yeah, he claimed 3 and he got 3. Look at him.
Is that something we're going to see a lot of in this tournament? You know, sometimes players saying, no, I wasn't touched, I wasn't touched.
Definitely.
But then you'll see some players who are very honest and say, yeah, okay, look, I accept I was touched, and yeah. Honesty is the best policy, fellas. Right, so we could be seeing another potential all-out here. 63 points to 11, the lead for the Bulls. They just look like such a well-oiled, well-coordinated team. You can see their defence here as well. That was an empty raid. And he's just taken the hit there.
Yeah, I think he ran out of time there. So remember, 30 seconds for a raid. You've got to get back before that time.
So you've got to keep your eye on the clock sort of over your shoulder as well, don't you?
Yeah,
exactly. There is a to our right, if you're watching on the screen, just in the centre part of the picture, you'll see the umpires, judges, officials table, and you'll have someone there on the horn, blowing the horn, so you know that it's a do or die raid. You also have a timer as well, 30-second timer, so players can see that they have a clock which is ticking on them. And that's just behind the umpires. Okay, so it looks as though a timeout and possibly a substitution. This is probably wise from the Birmingham Bulls, because they have a squad which is rich in depth, and they might as well give them as much game time as possible. They look to wrap this opening matchup of day 2 quite easily, so it's probably worth doing something like this, right, Prithvi?
Yeah, a great opportunity for everyone to give it a go. We've got Vinay Gupta, who just went off there as a substitution. He's played brilliantly on the defence side. So, yeah, definitely give everyone the opportunity to play, especially when they've got a lead like 66 for 11. It's the time to get as many players in.
Yeah, Vinay was on our coverage yesterday as well. We had a chat with him. Great to catch up with him. We'll speak to as many players, coaches, officials over the coming days, weeks and months as well as we cover this tournament. Give you a flavour of exactly what British Kabaddi is all about, because there's very much a harmony between all the teams, all the people involved behind the scenes. They're very much looking to grow this game and attract people from so many different communities. There are a number of Polish players who are playing because of the depth of talent and passion there is in Poland, and the officials are all Polish as well, and fair play to them. Yes, I said to them at the end, how were you still standing and focused? and you know, I barely saw them take any drinks or fluids or anything in, and they're just absolute soldiers because they've got eyes and ears open at all corners of this court at all times.
Yeah, they're doing brilliantly. I agree. Don't know how they're staying so attentive non-stop throughout the whole day. So big kudos to them. 67 for 12 to the Birmingham Bulls, and I think they've come back with an empty raid.
Yeah. I think if I'm the Warriors here, I would just protect Dev, their star boy, who's been taking a bit of a beating so far today, and focus on the upcoming fixtures that lie ahead. Birmingham Bulls, though, very much in charge in this one as the clock starts to tick down. 68 points to 12. Yesterday, they ended up with 73 points, so they look like they're on target to score more today.
Oh yeah, we have to see if they reach your 100. What did you predict? 100.
100-point barrier. Well, I think that the 100-point barrier, if we have four, which we had yesterday, we had 4 quarters of 10 minutes, then I think potentially it's doable. I think 2 15-minute halves, I think these are the sort of numbers which I think would be the sort of standard. This will be one of the largest wins I think we'll see.
Yeah, very true.
So it'll be difficult, I think, for a team to do it. But if anyone can do it, it's the Birmingham Bulls, because they looked very polished yesterday and hungry. Speaking to some of their coaching and management setup yesterday.
Great timing.
Excellent stuff. He's taking a bit of a pounding on the head, though, I think, the way he landed the Warriors players. They've got to just check he's okay. His head did bounce off the turf. They will have to take a moment here and get some medical attention. This is a brutal sport. He's done well to get up and jog off there as well. It's good to take a minute or two. We had a few injury timeouts yesterday. Yeah, speaking to the people involved with Birmingham, they're very confident. They're very keen to win this first ever British Kabaddi League title. They're looking like the favourites at the moment. 2 more there for the Bulls, so they extend the lead to 73 points to 13 as the clock ticks down on this opening fixture of day 2. And they've got him, and they just sensed it. Taking out one of the hoardings right in front of us here.
It's 3 points to Birmingham Bulls, is all out.
Yeah.
Again, extending the lead even further, 76-13 to the Birmingham Bulls.
Point for the player, 2 points for the all out as well.
Exactly.
So like you said, 3 points added, 76 points to 13. So they've gone past their total yesterday. They look refreshed, don't they? Absolutely galvanised. And that's another brilliant bit of work from Law, who's actually one of the substitutes who's getting some much needed game time experience. And this can only bode well for the Bulls. Many of their players getting as much experience as possible, and there they go again. They're just like a pack of wolves, just all over the prey. But a word for the Leicester Warriors as well. Like we've said, they are an inexperienced team, and they're showing a lot of commitment, passion and fight. And I think they're a team who, once they get that experience, once they understand how to play this game in that sort of savvy, technical way as some of the other teams do, become a bit more streetwise, I think they'll kick on for sure.
I think we'll see great improvements from the Leicester Warriors. They're doing really well, staying strong, keeping their heads strong, despite having to face a team like the Bulls.
I think that, if you're watching and you're in the East Midlands area, the Nottingham, Derby, Leicester, there's so many great sporting institutions in those areas. If you're a keen sports person and you want to get involved in this sport, just find out how to get involved in Kabaddi in your area. And, there are teams here like the Leicester Warriors who you could get involved with. Even setting up, I think the British Kabaddi League would love to have teams from areas like Nottingham and Derby as well, no doubt. So, it's something which I think the league are looking to grow and increase the focus on. And that looks as though that could be it. We're just waiting for the officials to call time. And that is it. Yeah, they have called time. That is it. That's an excellent win for the Birmingham Bulls. Their comprehensive victory. I would like to see them. You know how in football they will give it a massive long whistle right at the end?
Yeah.
I'm going to say to the officials, can you just do that for us so that we know that you've definitely stitched things up here for us? But that is the end of the opening game here. The comprehensive win for the Birmingham Bulls. Look, they were excellent yesterday, Prithvi, in their win over the Wolverhampton Wolfpack. And again, they've put down another marker at the start of day 2 with yet another victory. Just your thoughts on that?
Yeah, they really have. You know, their defence is solid. They work as a unit. As well as that, they've got their key raiders who are going in and getting the bonuses, getting points time and time again. Never let themselves get vulnerable in getting an all-out, which is really pivotal. But I do have to say, Leicester Warriors held themselves. They did well. They played like great sportsmen, and I think they're going to improve so much over the upcoming weeks. So, yeah, definitely keep an eye out for them. And as you said, if you live around these areas, this is your opportunity to get involved.
Yeah, get involved in the sport. Find out, how you can get involved with the Leicester Warriors. Get in touch with the British Kabaddi League as well. If you want to set up a team, I guess in areas like Nottingham, Derby, as I mentioned, I'm sure that as the competition grows, the league grows in the coming years, the more teams, the merrier. I think is essentially what's going to happen. So a comprehensive win there for the Birmingham Bulls. They take the bragging rights after the first game. We'll be back in the next few minutes with game 2 here on the BBC Sport website and on the BBC Sport app, courtesy of BBC Sport Scotland.